Hey, and welcome to Where Pavement Ends. I actually had an Instagram channel for a while and haven't really posted much to it, but I really want to get back to traveling, overlanding, camping, really enjoying the outdoors. So I figured a video channel would help me make that happen. So that and some prompting from some friends, what I'm going to do today is just walk you around kind of an overview of the Jeep, and we'll go into more detail about some of the systems. All my builds, this is my 11th build so far in the overlanding world. First one was a Land Rover Discovery way back in 2002. And prior to that, my very first 4x4 vehicle was an old Subaru Brat back in high school. So I've always loved going off pavement. I've always endeared the term of life begins where pavement ends. So let's just get right into it, and I'll show you around the Jeep, and later on we'll get into more details about some of the stuff based on what you want to see, and let's just get it going. All right, so I think the front of Jeeps is really sexy. And by the way, here's one coming up the drive. That's my neighbor. And also, we're thinking about vertical versus landscape, or landscape type videos. I think I'm gonna do this one just in vertical, just to get it done. But I love the front end of Jeeps. I always have. It's just really just so sexy to me. And on this one, what you see is the factory steel bumper with a Smitty-built winch, and you'll notice right off the bat that I don't have a whole lot of lights like a lot of people do on Jeeps. Like, there's no big light bar on the top. On the front, you only see the factory fog lights right there, the Baja Designs LP6s, and a couple of Diode Dynamics, maybe, I forget, up on the hood as my ditch lights. The kind of wheeling and off-roading and things that I do, I've had a lot of lights before, especially on my Land Rovers. They look just really nice up on the roof. But again, I am more about function versus form. The way that I look at it, any way you decorate or outfit a Jeep is going to look good to me. So I really just want it to be super functional. So that's what I've had. That's what I built, right? Here we are. We have the front of the Jeep. Everything looks good. You see, I took the ends. The bumper here actually comes with extension pieces, and those are not on there. It gives me a little more clearance whenever I am approaching obstacles. One of the little upgrades I made to it is these lockable hood latch, because basically with a Jeep, it's just a hood latch, and you can just open it and open the hood. So I wanted to latch things up because I have a few components under the hood that I don't want people to jack. Let's go to the wheels. Black Rhino 17s wrapped in Mickey Thompson Baja Boss MTs. These are 35s. When I originally bought the Jeep, it came with 37s, and I really liked the 37s, but I had to be just very careful how I built it. I was living in Utah at the time in a townhome, and I wanted it to fit in my garage. So everything I did to the Jeep was about keeping the center of gravity very low, which is a very important thing I'll talk about in future videos. For me anyway, for other people it may not matter as much. But what I really want to do is keep the center of gravity as low as possible on the Jeep with the biggest tires possible. And what I found is that the Mopar 2.5, 3-inch lift with the 35s just works just perfect for what I do. A lot of people like their Jeeps higher, and I love the way it looks. I really do. But you start to impact ride quality unless you go into like a really expensive suspension lift kit. So this Jeep works really well for me. And from a build perspective, I've been building off-road vehicles since 2002, and I think this is my 10th or 11th build. Jeeps, Land Rovers, Toyota, and even a Subaru Outback for a while, which I loved. It was a fantastic car. Just, it could do many things, super capable, but just not quite enough of what I wanted it to do. All right, so let's move on. We have these ditch lights, and I intentionally left these ditch lights loose so I can move them up or down as I need to, depending on what's going on, the obstacle. This is my GMRS radio antenna mount. I just twist this top off whenever I need to use it. put my antenna there, and I'll turn it on the inside. While I'm not using it, this keeps it from being damaged or somebody snagging it. On the outside, you see very conservative look. Got that military green. First thing you're going to notice on the sides is the fishbone steps. I love these steps. They're frame mounted. They're bolt on. They work perfectly. They'll support the weight of the Jeep. They'll help keep me off rocks. More importantly, they'll keep that pinch seam and everything underneath the door free from getting harmed. That's one of the most expensive places on your vehicle to fix if you break it off road. Plus, it could interfere with the door opening and other things. So really, that's an important place to keep very protected, especially on a wheelbase as long as the Gladiator. You see there's a ton of space there. I forget what the exact wheelbase is, but that's a lot of space, a lot of room for breakover, and a lot of room for damage. Got the windows tinted last year just to keep it nice and cool, especially since I moved to the south from Utah, so it's worked out really well. On the top, you'll see a JCR half rack. The reason I have the half rack here and not a full rack is because I do love taking the Freedom panels off, the front panels here, and going kind of convertible. If I had the full rack, I wouldn't be able to do that. Now, when I had my rooftop tent, we're going to talk about this later, I had the rooftop tent mounted on top of the rack back here, and the reason it has a half rack instead of a full rack is, again, going back to that Utah, I wanted to be able to get into my garage. And I think I had about a ½ inch of headspace getting into the garage. And that was with the 37s. Like with the 35s, not a big deal. It's an inch lower, so it's not a problem. So when I had my tent there, the reason I actually added the half rack is I have this big alu box that I keep all of my bedding in. Sleeping bag, pillow, blankets, etc. So with the tent there, the tent would fold out, and you could reach through the window, open the box, pull all your bedding in, and it was just really, really nice to do because there was also a little awning from the tent that went over that, so it kept it really nice and dry. It's just something to keep in mind, as you're building your stuff out. One of the things I really love too, mine was a fold-out soft tent. There are some hard shell tents as well. I've seen a lot of builds. Most builds actually have the tent where it opens in the back. I love the builds where you have the tent open in the front and you almost get like a porch on the front. So, a lot of things to consider there. You see I have some scene lights here on the side if you want to get to camp. Let's just finish the outside walk around, then we'll look inside. A lot of people ask me about this box. It does kind of get in the way of the rear view mirror there, but with the box, one of the things that you'll find is when you go camping a lot, especially as much as I did, the box on the side here, whenever you go camping, one of the things you'll do first off is dig in your box for your mallet, your stakes, your tie downs. So what I did is I took my mallet, stakes, and tie downs, and that's literally all that's in that box, and put them in this box. So when I arrive at the campsite, I open this box up, all my stuff's inside. I'll show you inside later. I don't have the key for it with me right now. I'll show you the inside and some more details as we go. But we look up here on the top. A lot of people ask me, what are these silver things for? The tent that I have is in a large bag. That is where my tent goes. So why did I switch from a rooftop tent, which is super cool and I love sleeping off the ground, to a ground tent? Well, the simple reason for that is because when I arrive at a campsite, now I can take my tent, set it up over here, and if I want to go trail ride or do anything, I don't have to interrupt or tear down and set up my camp over and over and over again. So going back to a ground tent, takes the tent off the vehicle, puts it over here, now I can use the vehicle. I have owned 2 off-road trailers in the past, love them, they were fantastic. I may actually buy one here in the near future. I'm looking at a hard-sided one and not just a trailer with a rooftop tent on it like I had before. So we'll see how that goes. I just haven't really decided which direction I want to go. The canvas on the back keeps a little bit of the water and moisture out of the back. It's not intended to be a fully waterproof system. It is just a wax canvas tarp that I got online. 5x7 fits perfectly across this rack. I really am probably going to go to a topper by the end of the year. Just haven't decided which one I want, or for sure if I want to go in that direction. So the next few outings will kind of lead me to that conclusion. All right, so going around the back, let's just look in the bed of the truck just a little bit here. Sorry for the glare, it's kind of hard to see. So in the bed of the truck, we have a few things going on. First, we have this big slide, and I love this thing. I never really liked slides before until I had one. Now that I have one, I absolutely love it. Of course, if I get the topper, I'm going to take this out just for space and for the way I want to build it out. But for now, this works fantastic. You see that there's a molly panel back there in the back where I can attach things. The only thing is, after I decided to get the tongue box and put it in there, it kind of blocked everything. But inside that tongue box is radiator fluid, oil, essentials, just essential stuff that I don't use very often at all, but I want to be available. On the top, you'll see that mounted a molly panel up there. When I'm traveling, what I realized is that was mostly dead space. So what I did is I put a little molly panel up there. A lot of people ask what this is. That's my CO2 tank for airing up my tires. I can air it up about 10 times with these 35s. It works great. So why do you want to carry air with you? Because when you go off-roading, you want to air down your tires. That way you get more traction or even a more comfortable ride. Depends on what terrain you're on. This right here holds my propane tank. I always have some bottles of water or empty bottles in the back. You never know when you're going to need water. This right here is nothing more than a paper towel holder from Harbor Freight. I have two of these, one here and one up front that you can probably barely see. They're magnetic, so I can stick them in here however I wish. They do a really good job of holding my fishing poles. And I have this little Velcro strip that when the poles are there, I just wrap that around it just to kind of hold them a little more secure. So that's the back of the truck. Oh, one other thing, this rack on top. And with this, I have the ability to have little hooks that I just move around and do whatever I need to. The real reason I got this is because I love to be at a campsite and I love to look at the water. I could back up close to the water and fish off this if I wanted to. I could throw some pillows up there against the cab and just enjoy some relaxation time. It works out really, really well for what I needed to do. All right, let's move on around here. And if you want to visit my Instagram page, where there is some stuff, but not a lot anymore, that's where Pavement Ends. Here's where I mount my mountain bike. Back tire there, front tire here. Get asked about this little side step quite a bit. It is a nice functional way for me to get two stuff on the top. I have two of them. I only installed one because I didn't really need two. The little thing up there on the top is basically a changing room or a shower. It opens up into a 42 by 42 drape that comes down, so you can put a potty there, you can change, you can do whatever you want to, you can shower, and then fold it back up and it just stays out of the way until you need it. The reason I'm making this video is because I put a picture of the back online in my Facebook page, and people said, hey, why don't you do a video walking around? So that's what I'm doing. I took out the back seats. I'm flying solo right now, so don't need the space. In the future, I hope to have a partner sitting here again, but that's not a big deal for right now. Dometic CFX 42 over there, nice fridge. It can be a fridge or a freezer. It's a single zone, so it can only do one or the other. I normally just use it for a nice cold fridge. Have the molly panel in the back, so plenty of room to hang stuff. I normally only hang stuff on the driver's side. It's behind my head, it's not in the way. There may be some things that I put low on this side, but usually just hang it there. This back wall, pretty open, but I can use the seat connectors here as hooks and places to hold things like a hat, for example. So in the beginning, I only had the 40% out and I had the 60% seat in. I don't really need that anymore right now, but if I do ever need to put it back in, right now I'm rolling with just kind of this this REI packable storage cube, and everything else is down here in the storage. Got stadium seating, got a picnic blanket, jack, all the essentials are down there. I always keep a couple of these little Helinox chairs. My air tank hose is right there. There's a fan there. And over on that side, I'll show you in just a second what's over there. But right now with this, if I wanted to put the seat back in, let's say, you know, I had company, I needed the seat back in, I could take out a few of these things, maybe throw them in the back, and there's 4 bolts, and this 60% seat goes right back in. So 30 minutes, I have a seat in the truck, and we have room for 3 passengers. When I'm traveling, I just use this, put stuff in here, and just attach it to the bottom of the seat. So I love everything to be secure. I don't like things being loose in the Jeep. So this is all for secure. You'll notice over there by the fridge, out of the way, easily accessible first aid kit and such. A fire extinguisher, all the safety stuff is over there. Little bags everywhere, everything's attached, everything's enclosed, everything is secure, and that's the way I like it. Up here in the top, you'll see I have a net, and because there was a passenger here before, I oriented the net that way, so there's plenty of headroom and wouldn't be in the way. But up here is where I keep a lot of my soft goods. So see, I have another shamag here, I have one here always, hats, a couple of blankets, a couple of towels, down jacket. I have one poncho and one rain jacket up there. So lots of good storage up there. Otherwise, it's wasted space. So I really love having that up there. One of the features that my passengers really love is these headrests. I think it's by a company called Road Pal or something to that effect. Don't need to bring a pillow or anything. You're here, you pop it down, you rest, you sleep, everything's good. I actually had one here for the back seat too. It's still available, of course, but that one's there. All right, so let's jump in the front. All right, in the front, quite a few things going on here. I always have these little solar lamps here. So they're available. These go in my tent when I'm camping. A company called Goal Zero, really good stuff. None of this is sponsored. This is all purchased materials. One of my favorite car trash bags ever. You see that it needs to be emptied, but this is a Mini Cooper bag, and you can get it on Amazon. I think it's like 15 bucks. I bought a couple, given a few away, but love those things. This is one of my rain jackets. Up here I have a Molly panel and a couple of storage bags. Usually keep my sunglasses hung up right there. This monkey, my daughter gave me that when I think she was about 16 years old. It's been in every single off-road vehicle that I've ever had since then. So this is Travel Monkey, and he keeps me safe. On the dash, you'll also see a power panel there and a dash cam. I always use my dash cam anytime I get out on the road. Power, I push a button down here and I have power and my dash cam comes on. Phone holder for my passenger. Sometimes, you know, they're doing the navigation, so it actually slides over here so I can see it. So, and another ball down here for another connector. The iPad will sometimes go here. All right, let's walk around to the other side and I'll show you what we missed. Like I said, I have the refrigerator here. Love this thing, it's been fantastic. How does it get power? Great question. It can plug right into the cigarette lighter. That will feed power from your main battery though. So what I've done is I've installed this Dometic power bank down here, and when I'm traveling I just turn it on. It powers the fridge. It's hardwired. A little bit janky right now because I'm still trying to decide what kind of setup I want in the back, but it is hardwired here to the S-Pod up front, and I'll show you what that means in just a minute. But so it doesn't draw battery power from the main battery all the time, only when I turn it on to charge. So when I turn it on to charge, it charges the battery keeps the fridge going. I always keep at least, looks like 3 headlights hanging on the back of my seat, which is very convenient there. You'll see bags and containers everywhere. This one has some small Tupperwares and some sandwich bags and a few other things in it that I might need. I always keep a container of change right here, a few other straps down there, and a little step stool that's rated to hold 800 pounds, I think, so super strong. You may have noticed the fire extinguisher, and again, the first aid safety stuff is right there. And I think that pretty much covers the majority of everything I wanted to kind of overview with you. Again, everything is very purpose built, and I really wanted it that way. Like, I love a good looking vehicle. I love seeing all the things people do through their Jeeps and their 4Runners and all the other vehicles that are out there. The new Broncos are beautiful. But for me, it's really about function over form. It's really about what works for me, what makes my life easier as I'm traveling, and also how do I make things easy as possible to get to in a way that doesn't interfere with the normal operation of the vehicle. And so that's really what it's been all about for me. And I think that the one of the benefits I enjoy is I've wheeled with Land Rover people for years, Toyota people for years. I don't think I ever specifically went to any Subaru events, but I took a lot of cues from how I built my Outback for some space savings even in this. So I'm really trying to keep the space savings in mind. I want it to be quiet. I want it to be secure. Like, this Molly panel is just super secure back there. So that's it. That's the overview. I hope you really enjoyed this. And if you did, go ahead, do your thing. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, turn on that bell, all that good stuff. And come out with me on an adventure. We're going to be doing more adventures going into the fall. And really would love to have some people that I go off-road with, or overlanding with, or camping with. Like, I don't really do much hardcore off-roading anymore, but I do enjoy camping and fishing and getting outdoors and just being gone for 3, 5, 7, 10, 15 days at a time. So let's plan an adventure and go someplace, because life begins where pavement ends.